Hey folks, so I'm out here doing some maintenance on the car because, well, look at this button. It's kind of trashed. I do have replacements for it, thankfully, but I gotta get the buckle apart. Not that difficult, it turns out. On the very back of the buckle here, and there we go. See a little slot back there? Just poke a screwdriver in there and bend the tab a little bit. Remember, it's made out of plastic. And what'll happen is that you'll be able to lift out and remove that, and then you can just go with this plastic button assembly here, and that just lifts out and in goes the replacement. Not all that difficult. And then you just kind of take the clip that's on the front here, and this piece of plastic just kind of fits in and it snaps back together. Unfortunately, I'm not in the car just because I want to change the buttons out. You see, you remember this piece of plastic right here? Yeah, that's a bit of a stress point. So on this particular one here on the passenger side, what happened? It broke. So that little piece of plastic has now broken off, and I now can't hold the buckle together at all. Now this seems like a bit of a safety hazard because, well, is it gonna now buckle up properly? Well, yes, it still can. Really, it just needs to hold it mechanically together. It doesn't need to have it, well, visually or beautifully held together. And it's kind of interesting how this works at the same time. So I'm just gonna take this one here and I'm gonna pop the top off, and I'll take the button off. And underneath here we have the main buckle assembly. I really can't pull this out any further. There we go. And it has a hook on this side, a hook on this side, but it also loops all the way around the fabric part of the seatbelt, which then is bolted to the floor. Underneath it, you have this piece of metal and this metal spring. And what those do, if I can get this put back together again, there we go, is that with everything held back together, like say this, and say this, when you take your buckle, there we go, when you take your buckle and click it in, like it's in there. That's coming out now. But what happens, like I said, if the cover goes off? It doesn't apparently affect it. Still doesn't. Okay, what if I take the button off? Still doesn't. That's because it's currently clicked into that little piece of metal here that's being held up by the spring underneath in the plastic frame. Only if the bottom were to drop down would it actually start to fall off. So what I'm going to do to rectify this problem is that I'll just take a little bit of UV resistant goop because I really love its bonding properties and it's kind of elasticy, so it isn't super rigid. And so I'll just put a dab there, a dab there, a dab there, and just a dab there, and put it back together and hold it shut for the night with some tape. Could be masking, could be painter's tape, whatever. And by the next morning, that should be fine. Again, I don't need much force to hold this thing closed. Thankfully, that's just the buckle design. Very simple, but it works. And I found that kind of interesting. I hope you did too. And until next time, have a good one.